When we were younger, we believed that family would always be there to support us, to show up, to catch us when we fall. But somewhere after 60, life shows us a different truth. Sometimes the people you thought would stay drift away. Sometimes the support you expected simply doesn't come. And while that realization may feel painful, it also opens a new kind of wisdom. Real support after 60 doesn't always come from others. It comes from within and from the habits, mindsets, and quiet choices you build for yourself. In this video, we'll explore the 6 pillars of reliable support that every senior can create and depend on. No disappointment, no guilt, just strength. Pillar number 1, emotional resilience. You expected support from family, from children you raised, from siblings you once protected, from friends you've known for decades. But after 60, something begins to shift. People move away, physically and emotionally. Priorities change, schedules tighten, calls slow down, and you realize the support I thought would be automatic isn't always there. At first, it hurts. There may be tears, anger, silence, disappointment, but then something deeper emerges. Something no one can take from you. Emotional resilience. What is emotional resilience? It's not being tough. It's not pretending you're okay when you're not. It's not stuffing down your feelings. Emotional resilience is the ability to face emotional pain without letting it break you. The skill of soothing yourself gently through waves of grief or rejection. The quiet confidence that says, even if they don't show up for me, I can still show up for myself. This pillar is not built overnight, but when it's strong, it carries you farther than any person ever could. As we age, we experience more loss of people, routines, identity, independence, less external validation, no work titles, fewer people checking in, more quiet hours to reflect, remember, and sometimes regret. And while external support helps, it can never replace the inner voice that says, I am still enough. I am still capable. I can feel deeply and still move forward. Without this resilience, loneliness becomes dangerous. Solitude becomes healing. You know you're building this pillar when you feel disappointed but not destroyed. Cry when needed, but don't stay stuck. Forgive without needing an apology. Find meaning in your memories, even the painful ones. Speak to yourself kindly when things go wrong. But if you blame others constantly, wait for someone else to fix your pain, feel stuck in resentment or bitterness, can't sit alone without spiraling, then your emotional pillar may need some rebuilding. And that's okay. You're never too old to begin again. How to build emotional resilience, gently and daily. 1. Start journaling, even a few lines. Write down how you feel, not to solve it, but to witness it. Try prompts like, what am I carrying today? Who disappointed me and what did I expect? What do I need to give myself right now? 2. Breathe through emotional waves. When sadness rises, don't push it away. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. Remind yourself, this moment will pass. I've survived harder ones. 3. Create a safe emotional ritual, a daily walk, a cup of tea in silence, lighting a candle for someone you miss. Let this be your way of saying, I'm here, I still care, I still honor what I feel. 4. Seek gentle conversations, not solutions. Talk to someone who listens, not fixes. And if there's no one, speak aloud to yourself, I deserve compassion, even from me. Family might not always hold you, but your own emotional resilience can. It's the friend that never forgets to check in, the parent that still comforts, the child within you learning to feel and rise again. This pillar is yours to build, and once you do, no one can take it from you. Pillar number 2, physical mobility and strength. When we think of support after 60, we often picture loved ones helping us walk, stand, or reach for things. But what happens when those helping hands aren't there? What if your children are far away? What if friends are aging too? What if no one is there in that exact moment except you? That's why your physical mobility and strength aren't just about fitness. They are your lifeline to independence, a quiet, powerful form of support that's always within reach because it comes from your own body. Why mobility is more than just movement. Mobility is your ability to get out of bed safely, walk to the bathroom at night, climb 2 steps without assistance, reach a shelf or carry groceries, get up after a fall, go outside and feel free, not afraid. Without these daily movements, life shrinks, freedom fades, and suddenly you rely on others more than you want to, or more than they're able to give. Physical decline isn't always sudden. It happens little by little, until everything feels too far, too hard, too late. That's why this pillar matters before the crisis comes. You don't have to be in a wheelchair to have lost mobility. Often the signs are subtle: holding furniture to stay steady, avoiding stairs out of fear, needing more time to get dressed, feeling winded just walking to the mailbox, skipping social plans because walking is too tiring. These may seem small, but they are early signs that your independence is at risk. And the good news, with a little daily care, you can turn it around. How to build and protect physical strength after 60. You don't need a gym membership. You don't need to run 5 miles. You just need to move with purpose every single day. One, walk daily. Even 10 minutes matters around the house, down the driveway, around the block. Movement builds blood flow, balance, and brain health. Two, practice sit to stand from a chair. This one move keeps your legs strong. Try 5 to 10 repetitions twice a day. Use your arms less over time. Three, do gentle strength exercises at home, wall push-ups, standing leg lifts, light dumbbells or water bottles for arm strength, resistance bands, very joint friendly. Four, stretch each morning, loosen stiff joints, improve circulation, reduce pain and risk of falls. Five, stay hydrated and nourished. Muscles need water and protein to repair. Prioritize eggs, beans, tofu, and leafy greens. Six, make movement part of your routine. Don't think of it as exercise. Think of it as a gift you give yourself. Every time you move, you say, I still choose to stand. I still choose to live well. After 60, strength becomes a choice, not a given. And the strongest people aren't always the fastest or the fittest. They're the ones who say, I want to keep walking. I want to stand on my own. I want to move forward, one step at a time. Your legs are your support. Your hands are your helpers. And your strength, even if small, is still yours to rebuild. Pillar number 3, mental sharpness. There's a quiet kind of strength that no one can see. It's not in your muscles. It's not in your wallet. It's in your mind, in the clarity of your thoughts, the steadiness of your memory, and your ability to make decisions with calm confidence. After 60, this kind of strength becomes more important than ever. Because when mental sharpness fades, it doesn't just affect how you think, it affects how others treat you, how independent you stay, and how much you still trust yourself. That's why mental clarity is not a luxury, it's a pillar of self-reliance. When your mind is clear, you can handle daily tasks with ease, protect yourself from scams or manipulation, remember appointments, names, and medications, communicate clearly with doctors and loved ones, make decisions about your money, health, and future. But when your mind becomes foggy, you become more dependent, people begin speaking for you instead of with you. You may feel embarrassed or avoid social situations. Your world slowly shrinks, and yet so much of this is preventable, not with magic, but with small daily care. Mental decline is rarely sudden. It begins in tiny ways, forgetting where you place things, struggling to find the right word, feeling overwhelmed by simple tasks, losing interest in learning new things, repeating stories without realizing it, avoiding decisions because they feel too confusing. These signs aren't shameful, they're signals. Your brain is saying, please use me. Please don't leave me behind. How to protect and sharpen your mind after 60. 1. Keep learning something new. Your brain loves novelty. It keeps neural pathways active. Try reading books outside your usual genre, learning a few words in a new language, listening to educational podcasts, watching documentaries. 2. Train your memory like a muscle. Play memory games or crossword puzzles. Challenge yourself to recall your grocery list without writing. Try the 5 things game. Recall 5 things you saw on your walk or 5 songs from your youth. 3. Journal to clarify your thoughts. Writing helps organize emotions, improve focus, and process decisions. Try, what was the best part of my day? What am I worried about? What lesson did I learn this week? 4. Talk more, not less. Conversation is mental exercise. Call a friend, join a group, share your stories. They sharpen memory and bring joy. 5. Protect sleep and nutrition. The brain needs rest to clean itself, literally. Sleep 7 to 8 hours if possible. Eat foods rich in omega-3s, leafy greens, berries, and whole grains. Drink enough water. Dehydration causes confusion. 6. Use technology with intention. Too much screen time dulls focus. Use phones and TV as tools, not as constant background noise. You've spent a lifetime building wisdom. Don't let it fade quietly. Keep your mind active, not for others, but for you. because a sharp mind is a steady hand, the kind of support that doesn't tremble even when life does. You don't need to remember everything. You just need to keep caring for your mind so it can keep caring for you. Pillar number 4, financial simplicity and control. In youth, we chase more money, more things, more options. But after 60, wisdom shifts our focus. It's no longer about how much you have, it's about how well you manage what matters most. Because in this stage of life, financial simplicity and control are more powerful than any promise of family help or inheritance. You don't need to be rich to be secure. You just need to be in charge of what you do have. Why financial simplicity is its own kind of strength. Money doesn't just pay bills, it protects your freedom. When your finances are simple and steady, you can make choices without asking permission, say no without guilt, live without fear of becoming a burden, sleep better knowing where you stand, avoid feeling trapped in toxic relationships because of dependence. On the other hand, financial confusion often leads to anxiety or avoidance, overspending out of loneliness, vulnerability to scams, being taken advantage of, even by family. That's why clarity, not quantity, becomes your greatest ally. You may need to rebuild this pillar if you often feel unsure where your money goes each month, fearful to check your account balance, reluctant to say no to adult children asking for help, overwhelmed by bills, subscriptions, or debts, trapped in a home that's too large or expensive to maintain, quietly ashamed about not being as stable as you hoped. None of these mean failure. They mean it's time to simplify and take your power back. How to build financial simplicity and control after 60. You don't need complex investments. You need calm clarity and a plan that fits your life today. 1. Downsize with purpose. Let go of stuff that no longer serves your daily life. A smaller home, car, or phone plan can bring more peace than pride. Every decision to simplify is a decision to breathe easier. 2. Track your spending for 30 days. Write it down in a notebook or use a simple app. See what you truly need and what just fills space or boredom. Awareness alone can reduce anxiety and increase control. 3. Create a small emergency fund. Even $10 20 month into a jar or account adds up. This gives you confidence and space when life throws a surprise. 4. Set boundaries with family. You are not an ATM. Saying no or not now is not selfish. It's sustainable. If your children are adults, it's okay to expect them to manage on their own. 5. Automate and simplify bills. Set up autopay for fixed bills if possible. Cancel subscriptions you don't use. Reduce paper clutter to avoid stress and missed payments. 6. Ask for financial advice without shame. A trusted advisor, credit counselor, or friend can help plan. There is no shame in learning, only strength. After 60, money becomes more than numbers. It becomes peace. It becomes choice. It becomes the difference between feeling secure or stuck. And no one, not your children, not the government, will protect that peace like you can. So simplify, not because life is ending, but because it's finally becoming your own. Pillar number 5, reliable community or companionship. After 60, many of us begin to face a quiet truth. Being surrounded by people doesn't always mean you feel truly supported. And sometimes the people you thought would be there simply aren't. Family gets busy, friends move, drift, or pass on, schedules shift, and before you know it, the days grow longer and the silence grows louder. But here's the healing truth. You don't need a crowd. You just need 1 or 2 real connections you can count on. And those people don't have to be related by blood. They can be chosen family. This is where the 5th pillar begins. Reliable companionship, honest community, support that stays. Why this pillar is so vital. After 60, loneliness doesn't just affect the heart, it affects the body, the brain, and even how long we live. Studies show that chronic isolation increases the risk of dementia, depression, high blood pressure, sleep disturbances, heart disease, early death, as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But on the flip side, having even one trusted companion reduces stress and anxiety, improves cognitive health, encourages physical activity and healthy habits, gives you a reason to keep showing up for life. Because humans weren't made to grow old in silence. We're made to feel seen, heard, and needed. Signs this pillar needs rebuilding. You may not feel lonely, but take notice if you go days without speaking to anyone, you avoid reaching out because you don't want to bother people, you feel invisible, even when surrounded by others, You've stopped making plans. You have no one to call when something goes wrong or right. These are gentle signals that your soul is craving connection, not just company. How to build a gentle, reliable circle of connection. You don't need dozens of friends. You need a few honest, kind souls who remember your name, ask how you're doing, and mean it. Make time, even if it's just a message or a cup of tea. See you for who you are, not who they want you to be. Here's how to start rebuilding that circle. 1. Reconnect with someone from your past, an old neighbor, former colleague, or childhood friend. Send a card, a message, or make a call. No big expectations. 2. Join one gentle group, a walking group, senior yoga class, church circle, or hobby club. Places where conversation is easy and community is quiet but real. 3. Give to others what you wish to receive. Invite someone for tea, offer to help a neighbor, send encouragement to someone else feeling isolated. Sometimes, support begins with you becoming it for someone else. 4. Consider a companion program. Many communities offer senior volunteer callers or home visits. You're not weak for signing up. You're wise for seeking connection. You don't need family to feel like you belong. You don't need to be surrounded by people to feel held. You need one honest connection, one hand that reaches back, one voice that reminds you you are not walking through this chapter alone. And that, dear friend, is a support more reliable than words, titles, or even blood. Pillar number 6, self-respect and boundaries. There comes a moment, often after 60, when you realize that the most important support in your life is not who loves you. It's how you love yourself. Because the world won't always treat you kindly. Family won't always show up the way you hoped. People may disappoint, take, or even manipulate. But if you still have your self-respect, you have your foundation. And if you know how to set boundaries, you have your protection. This final pillar isn't loud or forceful. It's quiet, steady, and strong. It says, I may be older, but I still matter. I've earned the right to say no. I am allowed to protect my time, my space, and my peace. In our younger years, we're taught to give, to serve, to please, to put others first. But in our later years, if we're not careful, that same habit becomes a trap. Adult children take and never give back. Friends overstep, assuming you have free time. Relatives dismiss your opinions because of your age. You find yourself tolerating discomfort to keep the peace. And one day you look around and realize, I've made space for everyone, but not for myself. That's why boundaries are not barriers, they're bridges to a life that honors your dignity. Signs your self-respect or boundaries are being eroded. You may be letting this pillar weaken if you say yes when you mean no. You feel guilty for resting or prioritizing yourself. You tolerate disrespect from family just to avoid drama. You feel resentment building, but stay silent. You shrink yourself to not be a burden. None of this makes you weak. It makes you human. And now it's time to remember. Respect begins with you. How to strengthen self-respect and set boundaries. After 60. 1. Practice saying no without over-explaining. You don't owe anyone a long reason. Try gentle phrases like, that doesn't work for me right now. I need some time for myself. I'm not available, but thank you for understanding. 2. Write down your non-negotiables. What are the values or limits you want to protect? Examples. No visits without notice. No financial help to relatives who don't respect you. No tolerating yelling or guilt tripping. When you write it, you own it. 3. Set sacred time just for you. 1 hour a day or 1 day a week. Time for rest, hobbies, nature, or silence. You deserve peace without permission. 4. Don't apologize for growing. If people don't like your new boundaries, it's often because they benefited from you not having any. You're not cold, you're finally warm to yourself. 5. Speak kindly to yourself. First, your internal voice becomes your strongest support. Speak with the same compassion you've always given others. Say to yourself, I am not selfish, I am sacred. I am not too old to matter. I protect my peace because no one else will. After all these years, you may have poured into others without pause. Now it's time to pour back into yourself with respect, with limits, with love. Boundaries are not walls that push people away. They are doors that allow only the ones who love you well to enter. And that is the most reliable support of all. Family may forget, friends may drift, promises may break, but the 6 pillars you build for yourself, they stay, they hold, they carry you. Not because you're alone, but because you've learned that real support isn't always given, it's grown. Your emotional resilience will comfort you when no one calls. Your strong legs will carry you when no one shows up. Your clear mind will protect you when decisions must be made. Your calm finances will bring peace when others create pressure. Your gentle community will hold you when blood ties fall silent. And your self respect, it will remind you, always, that you are still worthy of love, space, and dignity. Aging is not about losing support. It's about discovering where the truest support has always lived, inside you. If this message spoke to something in your heart, please give it a like. It helps more seniors find this healing reminder. Subscribe to True Senior Wisdom for weekly videos on how to grow stronger, not just older, with grace, courage, and clarity. And in the comments, we'd love to hear from you. Which of these 6 pillars are you strengthening right now? Which one has carried you the most in this stage of life? Because here, we don't just talk about aging. We honor it, we prepare for it, and we do it together. You are not forgotten, you are not behind, you are simply becoming more rooted than ever before. One breath, one boundary, one beautiful day at a time.